Here's the story of little Hansel and Gretel.
Once upon a time, in a little house near a forest, lived a brother and a sister, Hansel and Gretel. They lived with their father, a woodcutter, who loved them very much, and their stepmother, who was very cruel.
In fact, the stepmother wanted to get rid of the children because they were very poor, and so there was not much food to eat. She made a plan. She told her husband, the woodcutter, that they should take the children into the forest and leave them there to get along as best as they could. This made the woodcutter very sad, but finally he agreed. Well, Hansel and Gretel had heard them talking, and Hansel had a plan of his own.
In the morning, the children were given some bread to eat and were led into the forest. Along the way, Hansel dropped pebbles from his pocket. After a while, the father helped his children build a fire and told them to rest. As soon as they fell asleep, the parents quickly went home, leaving both children in the forest. When they woke up, Hansel and Gretel were able to find their way home, following the pebbles.
Of course, the stepmother was terribly angry. She became all red in the face. The next morning, the children were once again given bread and taken to the forest. But this time, Hansel had had no time to collect pebbles, so he dropped the bits of bread instead. But when the children tried to find the trail of breadcrumbs, it was gone! Oh, the birds had eaten every crumb. That night, the children were really frightened, lonely, and tired.
They fell asleep in a hollow tree. When they woke up, they decided to walk through the forest to look for help. At last, they came to a clearing in the forest and saw a beautiful little house. It was made of cake with an icing roof and lollipops sticking out of the chimney.
The children were so hungry that they ran up to the house and broke off pieces because they wanted to eat. Then they heard a voice call out, "Nibble, nibble like a mouse. Who is nibbling at my house?" Out stepped an old woman who was really a witch. But she spoke kindly and invited the children inside.
After a hearty supper, they fell asleep, and the wicked witch crept into their bedroom and carried Hansel outside and locked him in a cage. She planned to keep him there until he grew fat enough to eat. As for Gretel, the witch made her do all the work in the cottage every day. Hansel and Gretel tried to think of a way to get rid of the witch.
Every day, the witch would go and see how fat Hansel was getting. But Hansel knew the witch could not see very well, so he held out a dried chicken bone to make her think he was still thin.
One afternoon, the wicked witch sent Gretel to gather sticks to build a fire so that a pot of water would boil. The witch told Gretel to call her when the water was boiling.
Gretel called out, "I can hear the water boiling, but I cannot see into the pot because I am so short."
The witch wanted to eat Hansel very much, so she ran over to the big pot with the boiling water. The witch leaned over, and when she did, the little girl gave her a tremendous push. Splash! The old woman landed in the boiling water in her own kettle, and that was the end of the witch forever.
Gretel quickly unlocked Hansel's cage. They were so happy. Then they looked around the house and found this huge box filled with jewels, gold coins, and other beautiful things. They gathered all that they could carry and decided to try to find their way back home to their father, which they did.
Their father was so glad to see his son and daughter again. Then he said, that he had sent their cruel stepmother away forever. Hansel and Gretel gave their father all the riches they had brought, and they lived together happily ever after.
And once in a while, they went back to the witch's cottage and nibbled on some tasty tidbits. So children, that was a story of Hansel and Gretel.